Yeah, I will say, hey, while I mean, shoot, this game just ended. Let's talk about the sixth team that just lost there, Tampa Bay, falling short again in the playoffs for a second year in a row. What do you think Tom Brady does from here?
I think he moves to another team. I don't think he's done. Because frankly, he didn't suck this year. He did a lot of things really well. Yeah, was he more inaccurate than he has been almost throughout his whole career? Yes, but he's also had the sloppiest pockets he's ever had.
Probably the worst offensive line health I think he's had his entire career.
Ever. And so I just think, I think he goes to another team. I don't know if it's Miami. I don't think that is where he would be best. For me, San Francisco is the place.
That would be crazy. I don't see how San Francisco. Not that I couldn't see that happening, but it's like I don't see how you have this thing with Brock Purdy. You have this. You still have Jimmy Garoppolo. You still have Trey Lance. Like we don't even know with Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And then you go give all that up for Tom Brady. The one to me that as of right now, just potentially maybe would make sense is just because he has worked with Josh McDaniels in the past.
Oakland.
Maybe going to Oakland. Las Vegas. You'd have Devontae Adams. You can definitely get guys to come there. I'm pretty sure they have some decent cap space as well. They have some early picks. That could be something that would work. But if I'm him, though, I would want to go to a team with an established offensive line.
I agree.
To me,
the only team that I can actually think of would be New Orleans that has that and weapons and a solid defense. The only thing is I don't think they have the cap space to really bring them
Saints have been consistently in cap space hell now for several years, and so that's why they're going to stick with Andy Dalton as they're probably going to stick with Andy Dalton as their quarterback next year. They don't have a first round pick this year because they traded for Chris Olave. So
I don't think there's been a lot of speculation that Tom wants to return to New England. The only way I see Tom returning to New England is as an offensive coordinator.
I mean, maybe. Probably
that's not. But exactly, probably not. That's the only way I see him.
I don't see why he would want to get back into football. I think he'd want to go. I think he'd want to go live in Florida, golf.
I mean,
golf.
But Tom Brady's that way for a reason because he doesn't just golf all the time.
Yeah, No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. But
I don't think there's any
Colts,
other team.
The Colts could be another team as well. I mean, they're looking for a quarterback.
But I don't think that the Colts are interested in another reclamation project.
Tom Brady's a reclamation project?
Well, okay.
He's
45.
Jim Irsay, Jim Irsay is like, hey, Tom, you want to come to Indianapolis? We have arguably the best running back in the league when healthy. We have a good offensive line, completely underrated defense. No one talked about really just because of. The team wasn't good. I think that offensive line will improve.
Jeff Saturday gets fired. Colts, they have the cap space to bring him in along with possibly a bona fide left tackle and some other good players. I think if Jeff Saturday is not signed on as the permanent head coach and they bring in a real guy, then maybe I think that could be a.
Well, Jeff Saturday's not. Jeff Saturday won't come back as the head coach. I don't see why he would.
There was rumors that he was.
Well, for me, my theory behind that is they got Jeff Saturday, and we're going down a little bit farther past, but so then he could analyze each position because he was a special advisor for the Colts. So I think he got a good analysis of all the good, bad players on the team, and then they're going to take that into the offseason. So with that, then if you get Tom Brady, and we're just going absolutely just spitballing here, but I don't know what other team. I mean, I can't see him going to Carolina. That wouldn't make any sense. What if we did the ultimate troll and went to Atlanta? And like I took
That
a Super
doesn't make
Bowl.
any sense either,
I
though.
took a Super Bowl away from you guys, so like I want to give one back to you. I
but
wouldn't say no.
that doesn't make any sense either. I don't with where the Falcons are, like in terms of Tom Brady. They don't have the established offensive line. The defense is maybe above average.
They just had a 1,000-yard rookie running back. Their offensive line actually was top 10 rated. They have going to have one of the they have an up and coming rookie receiver. They can have $70 million in cap space, so they can afford him. Defense needs to improve a little bit. They have a top 10 pick. They'll keep addressing that defense. It won't happen. I agree with you, but like
I don't think Atlanta's still in the midst of a rebuild, and I don't think Tom Brady wants to do that.
No, but if you think about it, though, next year I think Atlanta has a legit shot to win the division. They only had one I think they only had one double-digit loss throughout the entire year. That was against Cincinnati. A lot of their other games were very close. They fought hard in a lot of these games. I think that they could win the division next year, especially if Tom Brady doesn't come back, because the Saints aren't very good. Carolina's in a rebuild, and then Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay will be very good.
It's an interesting dilemma. I mean, do you think Minnesota's a team? I don't think Minnesota, like.
Well, that goes back to what we were.
Kirk Cousins, like.
I'm pretty sure Kirk Cousins. I'm pretty sure he does have one more year. Under his belt.
Also, he has one more year, but he's making like 33 or like something million. Like he's making a lot of money, and so like.
But that's another one though. Weak offensive line. Like Tom Brady knows that. Like a weak offensive line. I don't see why he'd want to go there.
There are rumors that he could go to the Jets. I think Jets have a fantastic defense. The Jets have very good receiving weapons and a good offensive line.
And great defense.
Yeah, no, I led with that. Yeah,
Oh, you did? Sorry, I missed that. No, sorry. I guess I was thinking about that option. I was like, oh, I could see that. Then he's got to go play New England every single year. So, or not every single year. Well, yes, he would, but a couple times a year. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I mean, do you think there's any chance he comes back to Tampa Bay? Like, and he just stays there?
Not after this year. This year was so dysfunctional. In Tampa Bay.
I wonder how much. Who's their coach again? I'm trying to remember.
Todd Bowles.
I mean, there was so many offensive line injuries though, where it was tough to get a feel for it. But man, they did struggle to score throughout the entire season.
Well, they tried to do the grind them out. Or grind them down, wear them out style. And it's like they didn't have the offensive line for it. And then the defense was on the field way too much. So they just kind of ground themselves down. And then I think that was apparent tonight in the Dallas game. I think everybody was just so beat up from the season. They were just exhausted. So
well, and they even had moments as well. Like this offense seemed like remember when the Lakers a couple years back where they had Carmelo, Dwight Howard, they had LeBron, they had I think Russell Westbrook, and they got eliminated in the first round. Like this was the all-star team from like 2013,
2011.
And I kind of got some of those vibes as well because if you look, they got an older Julio Jones, they got Russell Gage, who I think was a good receiver with Atlanta, but I think also kind of past his prime a little bit. Mike Evans is getting older as well. Still really good. I mean, I think he still had another 1,000-yard season. They even brought in Cole Beasley for a little bit as well, who was a top 25 receiver back in his heyday. And it just seemed like they had a bunch of veteran pieces. It was no, they didn't have an Ndamukong Suh. The Eagles picked them up, but anyways, though, I don't know what Tom's going to do. It's going to be very obviously. It's going to be one of the major storylines in the offseason here. As a team as a whole, though, I am curious what happens because I wonder if they're going to go into a rebuild. Well, because they don't have. I mean, they drafted Kyle Trask last year or 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you roll with him? Like I know nothing about Kyle Trask. I don't think we've heard anything about him.
To me, I think from what we've heard about Kyle Trask, he's not very good.
And that doesn't surprise me. He wasn't a very highly touted prospect coming out of college.
Well, it was just the decision making. He would just make stupid decisions in Florida, and like you'd be like, you have a check down with no one around him for 10 yards, and then you force the ball to Kyle Pitts. Like, and then like, yeah, he would catch it sometimes, but when he didn't catch it, it was picked by one of the 4 guys around him. So, anyways, I think it's more likely that they make a trade for a Derek Carr or a Jimmy G and pursue one of those guys. I don't know. Todd Bowles didn't have any luck with the Jets, and I don't really expect him to have very much luck with the Bucs as a head coach. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's going to be. I don't think Tom Brady's going to be there, especially after this year. And a lot of it too, I think, has to be with offensive line health, but also maybe just internal dysfunction. Not anything against the coaching, but it just might not have fit well in this system. And any team is going to probably go say yes to Tom Brady.
Oh yeah. So, like defensively, they have a lot of talent. Like you said, I think Mike Evans, he's like 31 now, 31.
Mm-hmm.
Semi falling off a cliff. Like, well, not, I don't say,
I want to say falling off a cliff. No,
but like semi slowing down. And I think a lot of his production this year was because he was the only healthy receiver and Tom Brady was force feeding him 14 targets a game. Like, I don't think he was getting open nearly as much as he had been in the past. And he dropped a touchdown pass that I think he should have caught at the end of the game there.
I mean, the game was over.
It wouldn't have mattered, but it's just like Mike Evans from 3 years ago catches that football.
He might have an extra half step or something.
Yeah. So for me, I just think that's the direction of the Bucs. It's just going to be this decline. I don't think they win the division next year because I don't think Tom Brady's going to be back. That division is a crapshoot.